Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're prying open the files on a massive corporate investigation. We're looking at the hidden story of a fallen billion-dollar technology empire. And we're going to uncover the actual mechanics behind one of the most dramatic technological collapses in modern history. We're looking way past the basic facts here to really understand the human ambition, the organizational psychology, and the hidden, closed-door decisions that ultimately sealed their fate.
Think back to 2007. Nokia was, without a doubt, the most powerful phone company on Earth. But here's the really jarring paradox. Inside the company, the warnings of their impending doom were already flashing red. They weren't blindsided. They actually saw it coming, and they still lost. So how on earth does that happen?
Okay, let's dive right into this with Chapter 1, Building a Global Empire.
To really understand this collapse, you've got to grasp the absolutely staggering scale of their rise. Starting from its roots in Finland, under CEO Jorma Ollila, Nokia became the ultimate symbol of global expansion. Their entire success was built on this foundation of incredibly reliable hardware manufacturing and just massive worldwide brand recognition. Seriously, if you needed a physical phone built flawlessly and shipped literally anywhere on the globe, Nokia had the crowded factories and the vast communication networks to make it happen.
And that hardware mastery translated to absolute, unquestioned dominance. Number 1. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, they weren't just leading the industry, they were completely defining it. Their headquarters radiated this atmosphere of pure growth and success. They genuinely believed they were single-handedly building the communication networks of the future. To put it into perspective, at their peak, they commanded over 40% of the entire global market share. That is just staggering.
But empires rarely fall overnight, right? There are always those little tremors before the earthquake. Which brings us to Chapter 2, Warnings Inside the Machine.
So as Olli-Pekka Kallasvuo took the reins, these hidden struggles started brewing in endless boardroom meetings. The quote here really says it all. Inside Nokia, some people were already seeing a different future. And this reveals probably the most dramatic truth of this entire explainer. Nokia didn't lack talent, they didn't lack money, and they certainly didn't lack foresight. A lot of their own engineers and developers, the actual people staring directly at fragmented code on their screens, they recognized the shifting landscape way before the market completely collapsed.
What they were looking at directly were the severe limitations of Symbian, Nokia's operating system. Now, Symbian was brilliantly designed for early mobile communication, things like making basic calls and sending text messages, but it was incredibly difficult to build modern apps for. It was a nightmare. The engineers deep inside those corporate offices knew for a fact that this fragmented legacy code was just going to buckle under the heavy weight of a dynamic, software-driven smartphone environment.
And then, of course, the external catalyst arrived. Chapter 3, the smartphone ecosystem shift.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how cleanly it splits the timeline. In 2007, Steve Jobs steps onto a stage and the rules of the mobile industry just fundamentally change overnight. We essentially saw a split between two completely different worlds. On one side, you've got Nokia's old world, right? Completely focused on physical design, ultra-reliable hardware products, and those sprawling factories. And on the other side, the new world of Apple and Google. A totally software-driven ecosystem heavily focused on user experience, flexible platforms, and broad digital integration.
This ecosystem disruption was absolute. Apple created a totally new user experience model, and Android provided this broad, adaptable software ecosystem that literally anyone could build on. Almost instantly, the entire battleground shifted. It was no longer about who had the best factories or the most efficient supply chains. Nope. Suddenly, it was about who had the best software developers. Nokia's incredible manufacturing might became a secondary concern, almost in the blink of an eye.
Which leads us directly to the core mystery of this whole story. Chapter 4, Trapped by Past Success. So, if Nokia had the billions of dollars, the brilliant engineers, and the internal warnings, why couldn't they just pivot? The answer is organizational inertia. Their massive scale, their highly complex structure, and legacy decision-making quite literally trapped them in endless committee meetings and bureaucratic communication barriers. They were simply too heavy, and honestly, way too comfortable with their past success to turn the massive ship around in time.
And this perfectly illustrates our central thesis today. The very same strengths that build an empire can eventually become the exact weakness that destroys it. It's a profound corporate tragedy when you think about it. Their historic, world-leading hardware excellence, the literal thing that made them billions and billions of dollars, is exactly what blinded them and tied them down when the software future finally arrived.
Now we enter the final, pretty dark phase of our story. Chapter 5,
watching an empire collapse.
Under CEO Stephen Alop, Nokia attempted this final, truly desperate transformation, and you can just see how quickly the whole thing unraveled. From 2007 to 2010, the smartphone revolution is accelerating, and Nokia's market dominance sharply declines, as the corporate environment slowly shifts to empty offices and abandoned prototype devices. Then, in 2011, they attempt a massive strategic partnership with Microsoft to save their ecosystem. But the inertia was just too much. By 2014, Microsoft completely acquires Nokia's phone business.
From being the undisputed #1 in the world to zero. That Microsoft acquisition marked the absolute end of Nokia's era as the king of mobile phones. A billion-dollar global monopoly completely wiped from the top of the board.
So, the crucial point is, what do we actually take away from this corporate autopsy? Chapter 6, Lessons for the Future.
We aren't just looking at ancient history today. We're looking at a vital blueprint for modern digital transformations. Great companies do not fail simply because competitors are stronger. They fail when they cannot change with the future. Understanding and recognizing organizational inertia is absolutely vital for navigating today's rapid technological shifts. It's all about recognizing when your own incredible success is the very thing that's slowing you down.
Which leaves us with this final lingering thought. As we push deeper into the AI revolution, which of today's massive tech empires are already trapped by their own past success? Who has the internal warnings flashing red right now, but lacks the agility to actually change? Thank you for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this leaves you looking at today's technology giants in a completely different light.